Hey y'all, welcome back to the show. You know who it is. It's your boy Jay Hennigan, and I'm back with another episode of How to Kill a Sacred Cow. Tonight on the podcast, we have a Swapcast with Shane Newsome of I Knew Some, But I Didn't Know It All podcast. This dude I met a couple of months back through like a metal music roundtable, and we decided to get together tonight, do a Swapcast. Dude's so friggin' cool. He's a very, very talented musician. We're working on a project right now to try to get a conspiracy theory band together. But this conversation was a shit ton of fun. Of course, we talked metal music. What else would we start with? And we were talking about the history of Rome. We were talking about my band, George Orwell the Musical. We were talking about some lyrics. We also got into talking about psychedelics and dreams and reality. It was a really... we got pretty deep on this stuff, and I'm very happy. I feel like I made a new friend, and I can't wait to work with Shane in the future. He's a very cool cat, and he has a very different way of looking at things. And I'm gushing about him a little bit. He's a very cool cat, and I know you guys are gonna like him too. And if anybody would like to help out the show, of course, you can go to howtokillasacredcow.com. And you can, of course, there we got the videos up. We've got the audio feed up in a couple of different places. I have all my appearances from all the shows that I've been on, and now I'm going to be able to put this on there as well. But if you would like to help out the show, you can, of course, share it with your friends and family. You can share it on social media. That's always a nice way to help out the show. And you can also help out monetarily by going down to the bottom of the homepage. I have a PayPal donation button. I also have a cryptocurrency wallet that you can donate crypto to as well. But you can also, above those two buttons, you can subscribe to Audible. And that is a subscription-based service for audiobooks. I use it all the time. It's definitely my go-to. I haven't been able to do as much reading as I would like to, reading hard books, so I supplement with audiobooks because it's just easier to do that on the go. Of course, you can also go to the library section, and you can check out any of the wonderful books from any of the incredible guests that I've had on the show. Everybody that's written a book that's been on my show is there. Right now, I'm currently working on getting a page up for suggested books, and if you buy a book through that portal, I get a little bit of a commission, and my goal is to someday be able to do this podcast and content creation generally full-time. Now, I want y'all to put yo motherfucking hands together for my new boy, Shane Newsome. Bang.
Pretty good, decent fast food. Bang!
Bang! Life gotta burn. You know what's crazy was when I was younger, I had no low end. So like you won't hear in the album that I'm gonna send you, and please remind me to send it to you. I was actually on my way to going to send it to you. The Hegelian Dialectic was the name of that album. I couldn't do lows. It wasn't a fucking thing. No.
I learned how to do lows better first, because when I learned how to do highs, I did false chord, or not even like the wrong kind of false chord, like the fucking like that kind. Mm-hmm. It's not how you scream.
Yeah.
But the lows, it's like the fucking Asking Alexandria, or like any kind of that kind of like, but then you shape it more.
Oh. Brutal.
And yeah, you can get pretty brutal with it.
That was fucking brutal, man.
And then highs, I just learned how to do fry screams.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then I just like try to go up as high as I can with that, and it sounds kind of like a false chord. So like,
It is. It's a beautiful thing.
But I've been trying to scream since I was like 12 or 13. So I'd hope I'd sound okay.
I was the guitarist in a band called Schmog. And we started, so we were a band through most of high school. And then in our senior year, me and the other guitarist, he's the guitarist for George Orwell, we started writing some more advanced stuff that our drummer really, he couldn't grasp it. He really didn't have the chops like that. He was really great at what he did, but he couldn't really do that. So he suggested that we work with one of our friends. And then the guitar, Keith started writing some shit.
I feel that drummer.
Yeah. And Keith started writing stuff that I couldn't play. And so I was like, well, you know what? You and Mike was the singer in the other band, and his native instrument is bass, and he's just an incredible bassist. So it was just kind of a waste. So it was like, you move to I'll learn how to sing. We'll figure this thing out. And so I didn't even start learning how to sing until I was 17.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's super cool.
Yeah. And then
I've been trying to sing my whole life, and I've just been awful at it my whole life.
Oh, I was so bad for a long time. Even the album, The Hegelian Dialectic, like if it wasn't for distortion and studio magic, it wouldn't have sounded that good. Really wouldn't have sounded that good.
Dude, every time I record my singing voice, I just delete it.
Yeah, I love that scene in Metalocalypse where he's gonna delete it, and he's like, goes, now wait, let's think about this. I feel that I have to redo my intros for every podcast several times over. Like if I even fuck up just a little bit, I get so mad and I'm like, delete all. Delete it. Do it again.
Gone.
But
yeah,
I mean,
it takes me a couple times sometimes. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't write nothing down. I just go with it. Just go with the flow. And that's my intro.
Yeah. Yeah, like my writing process is arduous. You know what I mean? Like I try to like pack it with a lot of meaning. I really try to make sure that it's super creative, to make sure, because if there's anything I hate more than anything, it's sounding like a basic bitch. I don't like simple rhythms. I like to find the syncopation. And if I am doing something that is like, if it's very on beat, it's because like that is what it's supposed to be. Like I'll do something off, I'll come back, and then we'll all come back on the downbeat. You know what I mean? And then it all comes back together. And that's one of the difficulties I'm having with this new album. Like I was telling you before we started recording, was that this new stuff is just so crazy. There's no wiggle room. It's just gonna be very straightforward vocals.
Yeah, man.
And
I feel like you said, that's what it calls for. That's what's gonna tie it together. That's what's gonna make the chaos, order.
Yeah, it is, man. It's a tough balancing act, you know.
But dude, like, what were you gonna say?
No, you go ahead.
Dude, playing music with other people is one of the best feelings I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just wanted to say to the audience, like, learn how to play some kind of instrument. Even if you just get like a pair of bongos, learn how to play that along with a metronome. You can play bongos along to literally any song that has any kind of drums in it ever. And that's so fun. But then if you find some other people who are musicians or something, somebody that can play guitar, like you play with them, like it feels good. But when you get a whole band together and it's like, you got the amps loud, you got some, nice acoustic drums, that's an experience like no other. And I don't know, I want to inspire anybody who wants to have that experience to go ahead and try to do that in any way you can.
So here's the thing about music, is that it's not in everybody's DNA.
It's not in everyone's DNA.
Some people can't just pick it up. I say that while being like the least naturally talented person musically that I know. Everything that I learned over a very long period of time, and I sucked for a long time, and it was just, I wanted to do it so bad. Like I always wanted to be a singer, but naturally my voice was terrible. And I had to take vocal lessons at the age of 28, 29 to even be a little bit comfortable with my voice. And even still, I wouldn't even peg it until I was 30 to where I was actually like, okay, that sounds pretty good. So for the past like 3 years, I've been really tweaking my voice, paying very close attention. It's, that you've reached an upper intermediate to lower advanced level when you really start considering dynamics in everything that you're doing, like where dynamics is taking premise over content, right? So when you can sit there and smash on the strings and really fast, and you can go up and down the fretboard and all that stuff, but it's nothing without a light touch. You have to be cognizant, and you got to sit down with the metronome. You've got to make sure that you're 100% on time. You've got to make sure that every note is being hit clean. Mm-hmm. And so
right behind the fret.
A great friend of mine, his name's John, he's more of a blues guitarist. He used to play in metal bands, but he's more of a blues guitarist. And he's just like, this guy is just he's a fucking tone junkie. He is constantly chasing a tone that he's never going to be satisfied with.
Same.
And that's one thing I really appreciate about that's one thing I really appreciate about my guitarist. This guy couldn't give a fuck less about tone. Like I get on him all the time. I'm like, dude, you need a new amp. You need a new head. Like, this sounds like shit. But he makes it work. You know what I mean? It sounds great when we're playing, but I'm like, dude, this could sound so much better. But my friend John, he told me
sometimes good gear inspires you to get better. But it doesn't make you better.
Sometimes,
doesn't make you better, but it might inspire you to get better. Because if you're playing through some shitty little Marshall amp and you're just using the gain on the amp, you don't have any kind of noise gate or anything, it's just gonna sound like shit if you're trying to get into metal. And I was like, dude, I suck. And then as soon as I got like a pod, dude, I had like a noise gate, and I had
pods are beautiful.
like a tube screamer emulator, dude. I could actually get like it wasn't really a good metal tone, but it was way better than the fucking shitty little amp I was playing through. And dude, I don't know, that inspired me to get better.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know,
and nothing makes you get better faster than recording yourself and listening to it back, because you can think you're fucking nailing it, and you listen back and you're like, oh my god, that's how I actually sound. Fuck. I used to do this thing, especially like I love playing acoustic guitar and singing. Like, it's one of my favorite things to do. Cool. And like I scream a lot less than I ever have, and I regular sing a lot more. That's what I really love to do. But it sucks because I'm not actually a composer, so I don't do any writing anymore. Like, I don't compose music. I write lyrics. But I forget exactly why I got on that tangent. Shit. Oh yeah. Just listening to yourself back, like, that really pushes you to get better. And being cognizant in the moment when you're there, and making sure that you're, so my friend John, that's what I was trying to say. My friend John told me, when you practice, try to hit every single note perfectly 100%, and to apply the least touch possible. Now, he was specifically talking about guitar. So he was like, get it so that it's at the very minimum amount of pressure that it takes to actually hit the fret. And I took that piece of advice for singing. So when you're singing, the biggest thing that one of the biggest mistakes people make is, especially in metal, but it happens in regular singing too, is that they're trying to push too hard. So you want to hit that note with the least amount of effort possible, and then once you've hit that note, you start working on the tone. And so, like, let's say, for example, like, if you have, like, let's say you're approaching the bridge of the song, and there's this, like, really huge sound to it. You're not going to get that huge sound by pushing to make your vocals the loudest possible. You're going to make it sound big by expressing that big open note with the least amount of effort, but making sure that the tone is big.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the beautiful thing about music too, is like, that is applicable everywhere. Like, if you take these little nuggets that you learn when you're
on the snare drum.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, like let's say you hit that part of the song, and it's you're attempted to do something like like let's just take that note, you're tempted to do that, but you gotta lay it back, and you gotta go and you gotta work to get the tone. So it's like that's what I love about my music teacher. She really taught me, and she taught me, like, you want to practice singing from your nose. You want to practice singing from the back of your throat and the front of your throat and in the mouth. So it's like you can get so much,
pencil.
so many, exactly, above the pencil. So you can take the same note, like let's say you take it real nasally, like, hey, you could take that same note and you put it in the back of your throat. It's that's where you get all the different tones from. And it's like, and the crazy thing about singing too, it's what makes it unlike any other instrument, of course, is because it's your body. But you have to make sure that different words and different vowels are going to necessarily have to take place in different parts of the mouth, right? Like there are some vowels in some situations that can be done in several different places, but there are certain vowels in certain situations where it can only be in that middle part of the top of your palate. Oh, here.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so yeah, like I was saying, like that is what is beautiful about music, is that you find these little nuggets that like you can take with you in your life. Like let's say there's some type of interpersonal reaction, some type of interpersonal relationship, like you're just you're interacting with a person. The way that you practice enhancing the relationship and furthering the relationship in whatever situation that might be, whatever the goals are for that relationship, you want to apply the least amount of touch, the minimum amount of touch, in order to get whatever effect it is you're trying to get. Exactly like singing or exactly like guitar. So it's like, I am an abrasive motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, I am very diplomatic, but if someone asks me a question, I very rarely sugarcoat it. It's only in really professional situations, where I'm at work, where I'm like, I got to be careful about what I'm about to say here, because like I'm a very nice guy, but I am an asshole also. I'm all these things. So, my first reaction sometimes when someone asks a stupid fucking question is to tell them that it's a stupid fucking question. Like, I'll tell my friends straight out, I'll be like, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard, and you're actually a fucking idiot. You should probably rethink, the way that you're thinking about this thing, but
I'm like a boss, so I can't do that. I can't have any stupid questions because like sometimes like you have somebody that's never done it before. They have no idea what the fuck they're doing. And if you like, I don't know, if you discourage them from asking a question one time, dude, they're just going to keep fucking shit up and you're going to be pissed off. So I can't do that. I gotta, like, if you have any question, come to me immediately.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And I just I run into the same thing. About a month ago, I was given a supervisor position. I started this position 6 months ago, and then about a month ago, I got the supervisor position, and it was a weird kind of a switch because like the employees started coming to me. I mean, they would already come to me because like I was good at doing this or that thing, but like now they're coming to me in an official capacity, and they're like, okay, what do you want to do here? And I'm like, why are you asking me? Oh, fuck. I actually have to I have to do that. That's me. Okay, that's right. This is how you want to do it. You know what I mean? And so like I'm trying to really like hone those the leadership skills, but I'm also in a very lucky situation where everybody that works for me, they're great people. So it's like I got very lucky. There's no shitheads that work for me. No one's lazy. It's nice. It's a very small department, so
you're
it's
the
cool.
only asshole.
I am the only asshole. Yeah, yeah, for sure. No one gets it harder. No one gets it harder than family members too. Like family members, I'm fucking ruthless with. Ruthless.
That's great.
Because you got a whole lifetime of bullshit back here. My family members will
just like just cry or get pissed off.
Yeah, that happens too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like my sister, I'm the most brutal with. Like I love her to death, but I'm fucking brutal with her. You know?
I'm like the nicest to my sisters.
That's the thing, man. You know, it's like I'm a big brother. You know, so growing up, I made her tough. You know,
that's cool, man.
We had to rely on each other. You know, we had a really tough upbringing. You know, we grew up in a fucked up city, in a fucked up situation. You know, like alcohol, drugs. You know, parents. My mother held shit together the best that she could. She did a great job, but she was not without her faults. And there was some chunks of our lives that she made it very difficult for us. And you know, everybody goes through their own shit, and it makes you a tougher person anyway. But we grew up in a tough city, and you know, I had to make my sister tough. Now I didn't do it growing up like with the intention of making her tough. I just fucking hated her. You know, we didn't actually start getting along until we started smoking weed together when we were teenagers. And we're like, actually, you know what? You're not all that bad. You know? Yeah.
Weed bringing people together.
Yeah.
Did you ever learn to throat sing?
I've been attempting it. I'm like right there. I'm like.
Dude, you got it. More air. Just add a little more air. That was it, dude.
Cool. Right there. Yeah, those throat singers, that's something else. And the thing that I really, really love that music has taught me about reality is the malleability and the playfulness with it, because with music you have to work within a structure.
That's why I love metal.
It's a very predefined structure, and metal goes out of its way to break all the rules.
Go anywhere with it.
Yes. But like you have this, it's like the world is your playground when you're writing a song. And you have the opportunity to do something that no one's ever done. Now, this is something that's hard to wrap your mind around. You got 8 fucking notes. How in the fuck, or 12 notes, however, 8 notes in the octave, you get 12 notes.
Yeah.
How in the fuck has every piece of music that's ever been written used 12 notes?
12 notes. And
it never exhausts itself. Now, like, genres get played out, they come and go, but for the most part, and the one thing that I really love about music in this day and age, especially with Spotify, is that, and because of the proliferation of the ease of recording technology, all that stuff, and so people that maybe wouldn't have had the opportunity to do exciting professional sounding stuff now has it. So anybody that all you need is a little bit of drive and you can make something incredible. The technology is not a barrier anymore. So all these genres are coming back, like funk, jazz is blowing the fuck back up, Americana and country, folk. It's all coming back.
All
metal,
kinds of shit, dude.
And metal is finally So here's the thing: is that recording technology got really fucking good through the. It was getting better through the 70s, got really good in the 80s, got spectacular in the 90s, and then that's when metal started to come in as we understand it, the metal that we play and that we like.
Yeah, man.
And the recording quality was horrific. It was horrific. Like, look at Alaska, Between the Buried and Me, Alaska. A terribly produced album. It's legendarily terrible. Yeah, they were dissatisfied with it entirely. There was something went wrong during the recording process, and so that's why they did a re-release of it a couple of years ago.
What album is it?
Alaska. You know, it's Selkies and Crokies and Boat Shoes. Dude. Oh, and I saw Between the Buried and Me after they released Alaska live. Oh, it was a religious experience. It was fucking incredible. But yeah, I mean, just
Oh,
like
that does sound kind of bad.
yeah, oh yeah, it's bad.
That sounds like a demo.
Yeah, yeah. And just like look at the as incredible as like Every Time I Die is, Hot Damn was decent in terms of recording quality. But Last Night in Town, the album before
Inspired by
that,
like black metal or something. Hey, let's just like
like
record everything at the same time with shitty equipment.
yeah, like Last Night in Town, Between the Buried I mean, I'm sorry, Every Time I Die's second album, Last Night in Town, those songs are fucking incredible. The album is horribly produced, but metal is finally like it's where
Like the
it's
Chariot. I guess the Chariot doesn't sound bad, but it's just like it's insane. They record everything live.
yeah, and I can't even listen to their first album anymore. Really nothing before. What was it? I think they did The Fiance after Wars and Rumors of War. Wars and Rumors of War was like that was the first album where they did like a real studio album. It was legit, and they only did feedback, in very purposeful places.
Yeah.
And it was it was such a good fucking album. I love The Chariot.
My like very first like metal band that I really got into was Bullet for My Valentine, and like their production's like really good. Like it still holds up. Like even their first album, like today, like those live drums sound pretty good. Like all those guitar tone, like dude, that shit sounds good.
Yeah, it does.
And like so I would just evolve from there, like moved on to like Chelsea Grin and Born of Osiris and stuff, and those guys were all just like that's when like Joey Sturgis and those guys were just starting to fucking push production to the next level. And that's the start like kind of metal I started getting into. So like I never like my buddy I was showing you, the band Sijic, like he's probably around your age, so he's into like Every Time I Die and The Chariot and all that. That's the only reason I like have ever even heard of any of these bands, is because he showed them to me before. Because like I don't know, I didn't get into Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza. They're more of the my style of metal, but like production quality more of like the Chariot side of stuff.
Yeah, for sure, especially those first two albums.
I
saw Tony Danza in the era after they released that first album, like 2006, 2007. I saw them at a fucking VFW. And I didn't know them. So their original guitarists were
dude, no, yeah, you told this story on the Metal Roundtable, dude. No, that was sick, dude. They were just sitting there. Yeah, tell them where they were sitting.
Yeah, they were just like, I thought they were just handling the merch table. They were dudes in their 40s. Like, they were bald. Like, balding, not bald. Balding. Yeah. And they when they started playing, I was just like, oh, my God. Oh, you know what I mean? And that was actually, like, a really good lesson, a good slap in the face, because I was super young, 18, 19. It was just like, it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't, appearances don't matter. And I think that's true more than anywhere. In metal. But even there's this band called St. Paul and the Broken Bones. It's beautiful, like Motown type, like funk. It's so fucking good, and the singer is incredible. And I had been listening to them for a few months until when I had watched their first a video of theirs for the first time. And the singer is this he's not overweight, but he's getting there. White dude with glasses, dorky looking motherfucker. He's so ugly. And it's just like, and the fucking shit that comes out of his body is angelic. He is, oh my God, he's got so much soul. Like so much soul. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's like Meatloaf, bro.
Yeah, kind of like kind of like Meatloaf. It reminds me a lot of there's a Chris Rock joke where Chris Rock said, for every pound that you are overweight, you need to pick up a book. And it's because like if you're ugly, you better be good at something or you better be smart. You know what I mean? Because you got nothing else. And I think that's a great motivator for a lot of musicians. There are some ugly fucking musicians out there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And there's no way they're getting laid unless they get really good at fucking instruments. You know what I mean? They're not gonna get laid. Like they might get a girlfriend or two if they become like a software programmer. But if you get really good at guitar,
dude,
really fucking good,
dude.
you will get laid.
Get laid.
And you know what I mean? And you know what? That's the whole reason I started playing guitar. Well, not the whole reason. Well, yeah,
That's the
pretty
whole-
much the
dude,
whole reason. The whole
Pussy,
fucking reason.
dog.
Pussy. And so I fucking, when I was 12, I started playing guitar. I was like, this is going to help me get some girls. I'm going to get some girls. And so I fucking somehow find myself in a genre that's a fucking sausage fest. You know what I mean? Like, not just metal, tech metal.
Yeah, dude.
Mathcore, where like our only fans are musicians.
It's just the bands. The only other people in the crowd are the other bands playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I played a
100%.
few of those shows.
100%. You know, here's a fun fact. It's something that I don't think I've ever told on the podcast. 2084, the album 2084. There's a ton of inside baseball stuff in that album. There's a lot of callbacks. But so the album is 21 minutes and 24 seconds long, which is 20 minutes and 84 seconds. I bet you didn't know that.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, and there's one line in there that I'm like super proud of, but it's like it's in 451 degrees Fahrenheit, where so that song is very much so like the theme of the album is fire and light, and so the it revolves around the story of Prometheus. So the point is that, so Prometheus he's punished by the gods because he dares bring fire to the humans, which enlightens them, and then they can, they're able to do all kinds of things. They can cook, and all the things that you end up doing with fire. It illuminates, it brings knowledge. There's the physical side of it, but also the metaphysical side of it. But also, you just gave humans the tool with which they use to destroy each other, themselves. You know what I mean? So it's just as destructive. And so that's the whole point of the album, is like the things that humans do with the thing that's supposed to liberate them, and so you almost have to question, like, yeah, you want to live your human experience, but the gods may have had a good point in not allowing humans to utilize fire. And so in 451 degrees Fahrenheit, it's just mass destruction and things like that. It's war. It's but the song opens up, well, they didn't build Rome in a day, but we invaded in one, salted the earth in Carthage, burned the books of Alexandria. You know what I mean? Like, that's the second fucking song. It's like, let's
dude, fucking
kill
rapping that shit too.
And so like the there's a god in the Hindu religion named Agni, and Agni is the god of fire, and the properties of Agni is to create, maintain, and destroy. And so it's a recurring theme in the album. It comes up a lot, is fuck, buy, kill, create, maintain, destroy. And so that's a theme that runs throughout the album. And the end, the false ending of 451 degrees Fahrenheit, it's the breakdown before the breakdown. It's an amalgamation of the final words of Roman emperors, right? So it's what is that? Shit, I forget the fucking words. It's oh shit, I'm sorry. I forget my own goddamn words. Actually, this is a problem. Like, I'll go to play a song and then I'll be like, fuck, I forget all the words.
Dude,
and
I've
then
totally done that.
I'll look at my bassist Mike, and I'm like, Mike, what's the first word? She. I'm like, I got it.
Boom!
That's right.
Got the whole rest of the song pops back in. Yeah, dude.
So it's oh my god, can you talk for a minute? I'm gonna look up my own lyrics.
Yeah. So I fucking was a vocalist in a band that we didn't get anywhere either. But dude, I would do that all the time. We'd be practicing, and like most of the songs I didn't write the lyrics for. He already had lyrics written for, and he just wanted me to do it. Like that, I changed the flows and stuff. I changed a couple words here and there, just and dude, like half the time it'd be like shit. Like it'd be like I'd be like I'd have the whole song in my head ready to go, but as soon as we go to play, bro, like it's gone. That was a pretty cool band. It's like we lived like 2 hours, like I don't know, 2 hours away from each other. So that was a pain in the ass. That was a reason.
Log.
That was a reason we didn't.
Distance. So the lyrics go, what an artist Rome loses in me, which is the final words of Nero, right? Because he burned, and that's Nero too. So the theory or the myth is that he burned Rome purposefully so that he could rebuild it, because it was the only way that there was a great fire in Rome, and it was he was accused of starting it so that he could do all the rebuilding projects that he wanted to do. And the myth is that he was playing his lyre while watching the city burn. And so it's what an artist Rome loses in me. We must flee indeed, but of our own hand. And so that's the final words of Brutus, and his compatriot, after Julius Caesar was killed by the senators, there was a war that erupted between the faction of the Senate and of what became the Second Triumvirate, which was Octavius, Mark Antony, and I always forget the third guy. And so they were backed up, and they knew that they were going to be killed. They knew that the triumvirate was going to defeat them, and they said, like, we must flee indeed, but of our own hand. And the final line of that section is, have I played my part well, then applaud as I leave, this comedy is done. And that was the purported final words of Augustus, which was the first emperor of Rome, the Principate. And so that is like, there's always, the point I was trying to make with those three lines and the way that they had come together, I was trying to make the point that is always the inevitable conclusion of war. That is always the inevitable conclusion about bringing nations to war, is it always ends in your death. There's no fucking glory. And maybe they'll be kind to you in the history books, but people weren't really kind to Nero, in the history books. And I fucking love that song. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of nuggets in that album, and I took a very, it was a very intensive period when I wrote that album. So that particular song, I locked myself in my room for 2 days. I did a whole bunch of drugs, and I did not stop until it was done.
This is what I wanted to get into next. How much did psychedelics inspire this album?
0.
Okay. What kind of drugs?
Not the drugs.
Oh, Adderall kind of drugs.
Lots of Adderall. A lot of pot, a lot of alcohol. Just locked myself in my room, and I had
initially influenced by psychedelics.
Yeah, in as much as psychedelics affected my psyche and the way that I process and view the world, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But this particular album was mainly fueled, as most of my albums are, is by alcohol and pot. So I was a rapper for years after like George Orwell took a break because we lost our drummer, and we just kind of like lost the drive to do it anymore. And this was before we recorded the Hegelian Dialectic in 2012, and I rapped for years. There was a rapper called the PhD, and I would go home and I would lock myself up in my room with just a bunch of weed and a bunch of alcohol, like a hard alcohol, and I would just sit there and write. So I didn't have to be at work until 11:30 a.m. So I'd get home after 8 o'clock with all of my supplies. And I would just, I would stand in my room. I would have my dresser, and I would put my notebook on the dresser, and I would just write. Now, the thing with rapping, especially the way that I approach writing, is it's rewrite, draft, rewrite, redraft the drafts, and rewrite the rewrites. And so writing, especially a hip hop song, is for me, it takes a lot. It takes a long time, and it's very arduous. And what I'll usually do is I will do like a data dump. I will fucking just write 2 pages straight of just nonsense, just ideas and whatever. And maybe 1 line, 2 lines in there make me go, I like that. I'm gonna write the song around that. And that's not even the first draft. That's the data dump, and then there's a first draft. And I think I might have. No, I think it's in my backpack. Where the fuck is it? Nope. Give me one moment.
This man's got the notebook. I've tried writing lyrics. I could write lyrics a little bit.
So
I've written some good lyrics. The lyrics I've written, I think, are decent, but there's not that many lyrics that I've written.
So in this notebook, I actually have that I wrote 2084 in this notebook. So this is a really good. I have every draft of these songs. That's cool. So I can show you. I can show you my writing process real quick. So what I'll do is I will grab this camera and I will share it with the world. If you'll be so kind to join me, people, I am going to.
I'll try to describe everything for my listeners.
Let's Logitech cap, sure. Yeah, I mean, I'll still, where'd I go?
You gone. You disappeared.
This part. Here we go. Okay. So this is my webcam. Got this right here. And so here, for example, is the first draft of 451 degrees Fahrenheit. And as you can see here, the first words is, ladies and gentlemen, heroes and dames, distorting definitions is the game. That is not how the song fucking starts. So no. This is that first draft that I was talking about, where it's like fucking, I've got notes up here. Let me see. Nope, none of that was used. Let me see if I can find anything that was used. Fuck by kill your way to him. That's it. Fuck by kill. This whole page. And so this is the first time where this pops up, and it's we didn't burn Rome. No, we burned the Library of Alexandria. We went door to door in a guerrilla war. So it's like it's approaching what it's gonna be, right?
Dude, that is a process.
And then so this is the first time that the first lines of the song are actually taking shape. But it says, we didn't build Rome in a day, but we did burn that shit down in one. And so that's like, you know what I mean? And then I'm going back over it. I'm like, I know I got something here. I know that I've got something that I can work with. And I write it again. You know, we didn't build Rome in a day, but we burned that shit down in one, salted the earth in Carthage, and set flame to Alexandria. And I was like, oh, that's close. That's not where I really want it to be. And then, you know, this is going, we didn't burn Rome in a day, but we invaded in one, salted the earth in Carthage, burned the books of Alexandria. And I'm like, I got it. But that's like 5 pages of writing. You know what I'm saying? And like, I come up with all these ideas, and like, I'm scratching shit out. This is why I don't like writing, because this is what it, you know what I mean? And this is still We're still going through it. This is still, and then right here, I'm going through and I'm doing research. So like I'll start pulling books off my shelf, and I'm like, I got to dig deep, and I'll just read about something for a couple hours before like I pull out what I want to. So Agni is the god of fire, contains soul and fire-bodied beings. It's the god of rebirth, a class of reincarnated beings like Agni. Like I'm digging deep into the story and the mythology of Agni just so I can. It's a one line. It's one line. I wrote all this for one line. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
that's
and
incredible.
then I'm coming at it. Where is it? And then I start like approaching. I know that I'm like midway through in this part of the process because like you can see there's less scratches, and I'm like writing. I'm like, okay, I like where this is going. I like where this is still fucking. And then, this is like this is a finalized rough draft.
And are you
right
like
here.
playing the song over and over and over
and
again?
over and over and over and over and over? Yes, absolutely. And so I know right here that this is the final rough draft. And then here, as you can see, this is the first of the final draft. Right? Like I'm getting close. I know that I like it. But you know, now I'm refining it, and I'm like, okay, I like this line, but this line just isn't working for some reason. I gotta make it work, and then I'm still trying to find it. You know, I know it's almost there, and then there we go. That's catch-22, and then I do one more final. This is the final, I think. Did I do it one more time? Yes. This is the final. You know what I mean?
That was like 20 pages, dude.
Yeah, that's why I don't like to write. Like, it's like because I got no chill. I got no fucking chill. You feel me?
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, so that's my process.
That's awesome. I do not do that.
Most people don't.
It just comes. The lyrics just come to me, and I just write down whatever I'm feeling.
You know,
and sometimes I edit it a little bit, but most of the time it's like, nope. I found some good words that sound good. I'm not messing with it.
You know why? Because it's like I'm never happy. I'm never happy with anything. You know what I mean? Like, but it's an important thing because it drives me to really. Like I am my biggest critic. Like dude. I am not easy on myself, and that's why a lot of people you know, they sometimes don't understand that I'm being abrasive because I care about them, right? They don't know that like I'm being a hard ass because like that's what I do to me too. I don't expect you're getting the same treatment I'm getting in here, bro. You know what I mean?
Hell
like,
yeah, dude.
It wasn't even until very recently. Like I was a cynical fuck. It wasn't until within the past like couple of years that I was able to just be happy with myself. I was always beating myself down. Always fucking nothing was ever good enough. And I have had like a strange life, like a very strange life, and I've caught a lot of bad breaks, but I'm also extremely lucky in a lot of different ways. But one of my biggest problems is that like I can't get away with anything, right? Like if I do something that I know is wrong, I get caught immediately. Karma gets me immediately. There is no lag time.
That's
you know what I mean?
A good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing. But the real like fucking the like, and as you can see in that writing process is like, I'm not fucking putting this out until it's perfect, until it's absolutely perfect.
Go listen to George Orwell, the musical.
Yeah. Because
see how much work this man put in.
Yeah, like, and that's like because I'm writing for me. You know what I mean? And I know it's lost on most people. You know, I've had people be like, man, I was reading the lyrics. That's fucking great. But they don't dig into it. I'm like, dude, there's gold nuggets,
do the
and I'm
research you did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, open the gates of Janus and let it all begin again. I have never had anybody come up to me and go like, yo, man, that's that line right there. Because what the gates of Janus is, so in ancient Rome, they would open the gates of Janus, it was a temple, when they were at war, and they would close it when they were at peace. But Rome was at war most of the time, so it was always open. And so this is like, so that's the second verse. After, so in the first verse, the what could be called the barbarians are coming in because they're getting retribution for what the empire did to them. And so the empire says, open the gates of Janus, let's fuck it. They want a war, we'll give them a fucking war. So, and I've never had anybody come up to be like, yo, that's a fucking, open the gates of Janus?
That's fucking badass.
That's so inside baseball. You know what I mean? It's like, because I'm a huge ancient Rome buff. You know what I mean? Like I absolutely, that was, I don't know why, it's just, it always, why are people interested in things, right? I've always wondered this.
You probably were one of those leaders or something, dude. I was in a band. We were in it was like a freaking like Viking metal band, but the album he was writing was about Rome. We had a song about Romulus and Remus.
Word.
Yeah, betraying his brother.
Yeah. So Romulus and Remus were the mythological founders of Rome, and one of the brothers is killed. Very much, it's a Cain and Abel story. And it's Romulus that lives, and he founds. What's interesting about Rome, so this is in the mythology, and it probably like the further you get in the mythological story of the founding in Rome, you're probably starting to get closer to history. And so Rome was originally, it was a very minor city-state. And it was first populated by fugitives, vagabonds, people that were fleeing. They were because they were bad people. They were fleeing all the different places, the Etruscans, Etruria, which was the dominant power. They was just Veii. They were just north of where Rome is now. Okay. And Rome assimilated a lot of their culture. So if you ever go to a museum and they have like some type of chronological display of Greek and Roman architecture, they'll always start with the Etruscans because they were like 600 BC, something like that. And then you'll go forward and it'll take you through the founding of Rome, and all that stuff. But so the founding story of Rome after Romulus starts it. It's called the Rape of the oh fuck. Oh, why am I blanking on it, right? The Rape of the Sabine women. So what the Romans did was they invited an adjacent city-state to a festival, a Saturn worship festival. Saturnian, it was a Saturnian festival. And what they did was they put all the women somewhere, they locked them in, and then they locked all the men out and killed a bunch of the men. And they kept the woman because they didn't have women to propagate with because they were all fugitives and stuff like that.
Oh, shit.
And so they took the women and they took them and they made a bunch of babies. And a couple of years later, the Sabines returned to get their vengeance because they had to regroup because a lot of them were killed. Yeah. And so they had to, they joined with, some neighboring tribes and whatever like that. And they boosted it up. They got an army to go back and kill them. But when they got back to Rome to reclaim their women, all these women started families with these guys. Yeah. And they're like, look, you guys can't fight. Like, this is my life now. Now I have children. I got to take care of these children. Can we just be at peace? Can we just call it a day? And eventually the Sabines were absorbed into the Roman city-state, the growing Roman city-state. Yeah. And so it's like, so Rome, from its founding, is fucking brutal.
Fucking
brutal. And I think that's why I always, you know what I mean? Just these stories of these generals. Like, there's that's God damn it, Shoki. So
kill your ZKS. That's the noise. That's a ducks, right? Of course, it's the noise the ducks makes.
Ah, shut up, Toki. Yeah, fucking. So, and I love the stories of these generals, and I geek out about Roman history. Like, I really love getting into the administrative and bureaucratic aspects of how the empire was run. There's
Zero research on Rome, really.
And there's so many like cracks and crevices that you can get into. You get lost. Like, what I would suggest is, like, Roman history is super important, especially because the founding fathers based the American governmental system on this. It was they studied the Roman Senate. They studied Roman history, and they set the American government up. In part, there was a lot of influence from European experience and stuff like that, and with the Enlightenment and all that stuff. But it was very explicit. Like, if you go back and you read the Federalist Papers, they're constantly referencing Rome, and they were like, "This is what went wrong. This is how you stop." Because what happened was Rome was a republic. So it was kind of like our federal system, where the senators were they didn't represent the people, really. They were the elites.
Yeah.
But they actually
Parasites.
Yeah. But they were the people that made stuff happen. You know what I mean? They were the ones that provided Rome is very complicated in how it became an empire, because even when it became an empire, everybody was, so the Augustus, the first emperor of Rome, Octavian, he was the nephew of Julius Caesar, and he was part of the triumvirate that took out the Senate. Even when he took power, he never called himself emperor. That is something that historians place on him after the fact. He was what he called the Principate. So he was restoring the Senate. He was the absolute dictator, but he gave this appearance of the Senate because the people needed the illusion of the republic in order to have confidence in it. And the founding fathers were very cognizant of this. And so the way that it worked with the Senate for a long time before the warlords, like Marius and Sulla, who they're in the generation before Julius Caesar. That was like the tail end of the Republic proper. The Senate, they did have representatives for the people in the Senate, but it was like, it's very complicated, and I really shouldn't get into it. What I was going to say, though, is that you should actually, like, the best and most entertaining way to learn about Rome is Mike Duncan's History of Rome podcast. Okay. It's incredible because this guy is one of the best podcasters ever.
I've listened to like Dan Carlin's Hardcore History a few times about.
It's fucking Mike Duncan. Mike Duncan's right here.
I can get down.
Dan Carlin's like right here. He's like one level above him, but everybody loves, because Dan Carlin he's in a league in his own,
Yeah, dude.
But
it's just like an information overload.
Yeah, but he does it in a very entertaining.
Don't remember any of it.
What I really appreciate about Dan Carlin is that he story tells the whole time. It is a ton of information, great, but he still weaves it into a narrative. Nobody. It's very, very rare, very unique. It's a very rare gift. And this is so Mike Duncan is completely the opposite. He writes all of his episodes in essay form and then reads them on the podcast. But it's incredible watching. Like, if you listen to the first 20 episodes, which covers the mythological founding of Rome and into the first few kings of Rome, because there were kings before there was a republic. Mm-hmm. There was the 7 kings, I think. It's incredible to watch him grow as a podcaster, because those first episodes are rough.
Oh yeah,
they're rough. But he hits his stride, around episode 20, and then he just keeps getting better and better. But digs so deep, you know what I mean? So in any given period that he's speaking about, because it's in complete 100% chronological order, which is just like, in and of itself, that feat is just like...
That's awesome.
That's
great.
I don't even think he knew what he was getting himself into when he started it. And then like he was like, well, I guess, and he decided to end it at the fall of the Western Empire, because technically the Roman Empire continues in the East in Byzantium for another like 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And it's
all Byzantines.
It's just so yeah, but definitely check that out. It's a great, and it's very entertaining, and it's information heavy, and he references all the sources, every fucking source that there is, contemporary as well as classical, right? So if he's writing about fucking Herodotus, like if something takes place during the time of Herodotus, he uses Herodotus as a reference. You know, and I have Herodotus here in the Great Books of the Western World. You see these books right here?
Yeah.
Right down there is the Great Books of the Western World. It's not a complete set, and there's another layer underneath that on the bottom level. But that goes from... It goes from the ancient Greek playwrights all the way up to Freud. That's the Great Books of the Western World. And so, like, I read a lot of that. It's even got Gibbon's... fall of the Roman Empire. It's, people don't read enough books,
I definitely don't.
You gotta read, man.
I read a little bit.
You gotta read.
I haven't read a book in probably 6 months.
I've been slacking, but I supplement. So I have
I just listen to podcasts. And
then... podcast is great, but it has to be both. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know. I definitely need. I've been feeling the itch to get a good book recently. So
I got some suggestions for you. But I mean, I've been slacking on reading just because like my whole entire schedule has changed, and I just can't read as much as I used to. I used to read for hours a day, and I did that for...
I used to just read before I went to sleep, and that was great.
It is great, but like you have to have time that you set aside. It's like this hour is for reading, and it gets tougher the older you get because you have family, and that stuff gets difficult. But you have to be disciplined at it because there's no way to read the amount of stuff that you need to read.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. There's so much that you need to read. It's fucking sickening. You
know
what I'm saying?
I've kind of been like, that's why it's okay, because like I'll never have enough time to read all the books that I want to read. So
yeah, let alone the books that you have to read. So the books that you have to read are more difficult because you don't want to read them. They're hard. A lot of the times, if you're reading something from fucking 400 BC, it's very impenetrable. You know what I mean? Like, you have to read Julius Caesar. You have to read William Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. It's terrible to read. But actually, there was a movie, Julius. They did a Julius Caesar movie with
I'm just gonna read all these to my son.
Yeah, fuck yeah. He's gonna have no clue what you're saying.
But all right. It'll be in there.
They did a movie, Julius Caesar. They just they took the William Shakespeare Julius Caesar and they did a movie version of it. Marlon Brando playing Mark Antony, and he has oh my god, he has this incredible scene, which is like this. It's the best scene in the play. In the movie play, the screenplay, where he so basically, they kill Caesar. Brutus comes in front of the people on the steps of the Capitol, and he pleads his case. He's like, listen, this guy was a tyrant. He was destroying the Republic. We had to, and everybody's with him. And Mark Antony comes out. Mark Antony was Julius Caesar's number 2. He was the clear... and Mark Antony goes on to have like his own fucking crazy life. He goes to Alexandria and he starts fucking Cleopatra, and they have kids. And Cleopatra's got kids from Julius Caesar also.
Yeah.
And it's fucking like, it's just so crazy. And that's why the Senate was always like so jumpy about it, because he's got claimants to the throne fucking sitting there in Egypt. It's crazy. And then Octavius, who changes his name to Augustus, he's the first emperor. He goes and he fucking takes out Mark Antony in the It's the I forget the fucking name of the battle right now. It doesn't matter. But yeah, so Mark Antony comes up after Brutus on the steps of the Capitol, and he gives this speech where it's just so manipulative and masterful. And he's like, his whole thing is like, he's saying Brutus said that he had to kill Caesar, and Brutus is an honorable man. And it's like, it's so masterful the way that it develops throughout the speech, because he says that Caesar was ambitious. Was Caesar ambitious? I don't know, but you have to believe Brutus because Brutus is an honorable man. And he slowly starts taking it and he's like, this is the man that he's basically saying Caesar, he's got Caesar's will. And he's like, should I read Caesar's will? He was like, is it enough to know that you're his heirs? Because Caesar, what he did in his will was and this was a whole fucking thing, because Mark Antony goes to the Vestal Virgins, and he takes the will from the Vestal Virgins who were holding it, they were protecting it. He steals it before anyone else can see it, so he may have altered it. But what Caesar did was he gave all of the public lands of Rome to the people. He gave them all a shit ton of money, all of the money that in his treasury, he gave it to the people. He dispersed it amongst everybody. And he's like, was this man ambitious? He was like, he gave you fucking Rome, but Brutus is an honorable man. And he turns the whole fucking crowd against him, and it's like Brutus and the senators are like, we got to get the fuck out of here. And they do. They fucking bounce. You know what I'm saying? It's so hardcore. You know what I mean? And that's why I love Rome. It's so hardcore. Damn. And there's conspiracies everywhere. You know what I mean? And so much is up for debate. They're like, there's this emperor died under mysterious circumstances. This person might have poisoned him. His fucking the Praetorian Guard might have fucking took him out. And this is what's dope about the Praetorian Guard. Is the Praetorian Guard was they were originally meant, so troops were not, the army was not allowed to be stationed in Rome, and that's when Julius Caesar. Have you ever heard "Crossing the Rubicon"? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So, and the Human Abstract has a song called "Crossing the Rubicon" with their old singer. It's a fucking it's the greatest. So when Julius Caesar crosses the Rubicon, that is the demarcation line. You cannot bring armed troops beyond the Rubicon. It was a river. And that's the point of no return. And so it's this hardcore thing that this badass did that becomes part of the lexicon, thousands of years later, is crossing the Rubicon is synonymous with the point of no return. And that's declaring war and just fucking planting your flag. So in the city, there was what was called the Praetorian Guard. They were the protectors of, the emperor, or at the time before that, it was the Senate. And the Praetorian Guard, they get infiltrated by some pretty serious people. And the Praetorian Guard starts running the country in a lot of different ways. They start putting fucking emperors on the throne. They start murdering emperors and putting emperors on the throne. They're like the fucking CIA. You know what I'm saying? It's you could make a case, an analogous case that the Praetorian Guard was a lot like the CIA.
This is what our band should be about, dude.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. You know what I'm saying? And
probably it's so much writing for you though.
Yeah, I know, but I know. I don't want to do it. Because I can't recover like I used to recover when I was in my 20s. You know what I mean? I can't lock myself in a room and drink all weekend.
Well, don't drink.
I have to. It's part of the process. It's part of the process, bro. You know what I'm saying? There's something about the combination, especially if you throw some Adderall in there. There's something about that combination that just it lights my brain on fire. And there's no. I know, I might have a creative thought here and there during the day, which might spark something later on. But real work doesn't happen when I'm writing unless I'm fucked up. Jesus Christ. I know when I'm reading it later on, I'm like, there's no way. I don't even know where it comes from. I was having this discussion with Brandon Thomas the other day on the phone. Yeah. And we were talking about we were basically we're homos we're homos for each other. You know what I mean?
He inspired me to start my podcast.
Oh, I didn't know that. No shit.
Yeah, dude.
Is that how did you know him before? Or?
No, dude, I was just like, I've been listening to his podcast for like a couple months, and I've been trying to start a podcast for like a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, listening to him one day, and he just made me feel so good and inspired. I was like, yo, I'm fucking do it.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man.
I
He's such
started
a
it, man.
he's such a like a
Love that, man.
the energy just radiates off of him. Have you had him on your show?
No, I'll talk to him.
Yeah, I'll get him. Yeah, have you ever spoken to him?
No.
Yeah, I'll hook you guys up. I'll hook you guys up for sure.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually working on some
He's
very...
like on all like he talks about all my favorite shit. Like I'm not super into the UFO stuff, but like any of the wild shit, like basically infinity. That's my thing. Like he believes in infinity. Anything can fucking happen. And like I just go down any rabbit hole. It's
he's
amazing.
so incredibly positive, and he's such like
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like he makes me feel better when I speak to him. You know what I mean?
And
He
like,
makes me
that's
feel
what
like
I'm
I can do
trying
anything.
to do with my podcast. Like I don't do it, I guess, as much as I should be doing, but like I want to make people feel good when they listen to this thing.
Yeah, no, I want to make people feel like they need to overthrow the government when they hear my podcast. Like that's where
I got a little bit of that.
Yeah. No, man, but like
it's in the name though.
That's right, killing sacred cows. It's because like that's how I've always been. You know what I'm saying? Like when I created the podcast, it was like anything is on the fucking table. Like I'm so tired of people now. Like I have said and believed some crazy shit in my life, and when I come back to it and I come back around it, I'm a little softer on some of my positions now. It's more well thought out. I have more to back it up, and sometimes I don't. You know what I mean? But like I feel like I am so sick and tired of like let's just go fucking right to the... I kind of want to finish up this point, so I'm going to try to remember to come back to here. So Brandon Thomas, me and him were talking, and like we were talking about when you're interviewing, he was like, we were telling each other how incredible we are. And we were like, if you're doing an interview right, you just pay attention and you foster the conversation, you stay curious, you stay engaged, but you let whatever the creative spirit is that enters you to take over. And that's what I do with when I'm writing, is like, I'm not fucking doing the writing. I am absolutely not. I am tapping into something else. Something else is working through me. I'm just putting all this stuff into my body, whether that's like, substances and information and books and all that stuff. And I let my hand just go. You know what I mean? But I mean, there is an active process because I'm trying to make words rhyme. And that's actually, I don't think anybody else does this as much as me. Everything rhymes in George Orwell. Dude. I can't not rhyme. I can't not.
Dude, same. I cannot write lyrics that don't rhyme. If they don't rhyme, it doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah.
But then there's like lyrics I'd like listen to in songs that I like that like barely ever rhyme and it sounds great. But I can't write lyrics like that. Gotta rhyme.
And so I'm trying to remember the other thing. What was the other thing that I was talking about before I had to go back?
I'm just remembering.
And I started talking about Brandon. Where else did we go?
Fucking.
Because I had a really good point I was going to make.
Shit.
And then I was like, I want to remember this. I want to get back to this.
So you held the hand up.
Yeah, no, it was just letting the spirit work.
I thought you had a technique. I'm like, oh, well. Dude, tell me about, what was DMT like for you? Because this is a psychedelic podcast. I got to have a little bit of that on there.
Yeah.
At the tail end of the episode here.
Yes. So here's the thing with drugs and me and substances and me. So if I get blackout hammer-face drunk in front of you, you wouldn't know.
Okay.
I can pull my shit together. And I'll tell you some I'll tell you some shit off air, maybe. But so that's the thing, is substances and drugs, they don't hit me as hard as they hit other people. Right? So when I interface with something like DMT, me and the person sitting next to me, like, they will blast off into space, but I will get stuck in the between realm, in that realm where everything just gets real colorful and everything. It's like I'm I'm in that place right before you blast off. I've never blasted off, and I've smoked plenty of DMT that I should have blasted off. But you know, I get the geometrical shapes, and there's the things turn into geometrical shapes, and then they invade the space around me, but I'm still there, you know, and it's like it's in that space where I start realizing the fluidity of reality and just how our consciousness is hanging by a fucking thread at all times.
Yes.
By a thread.
Yeah.
And you pierce that veil once in a while. You can see through that once in a while. Sometimes like a deja vu. You know what I mean? When you get deja vu, whether it's your brain playing tricks on you or whatever, however a fucking scientist goes and dismisses it away, that's still your experience. And it fucks you up. You know what I mean? Like you're like, wait a minute. I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to fucking say that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so, I mean, that could point to something like maybe reality happens a split second before your brain processes it. And even if that is the truth, you know, we as humans,
Then what is time?
Well, you want to talk about time.
Does everyone process time the same, you know? Like,
no,
you know what I mean?
People don't even process time the same as themselves in a different situation. That's why if you're having sex, 45 minutes just flies by. If you're fucking shoveling a foot in
the bus, 45 minutes feels like 3
forever.
hours.
Exactly. Time is entirely relative, and that is where it interfaces with music as well, because everything about music is relative. Everything is relative to the initial chord, the initial note. You know what I mean? Like, if your first chord is an A chord, you are playing in the key of A, and everything must follow. You can break out of that, but if it's not done creatively, and if it's not done with grace and style, you're just making a bad song.
Yeah.
So I tend to think of a lot of things in terms relative like that. Like if everything is relative to the key, right? So you can have an entirely different interpretation of one single thing because the conditions and the situation molds where that thought ends up, right? And I might be muddling this up because like I still haven't even worked this out, right? And like
check this out.
Yeah.
So what my experience is, everything that's ever happened, ever could happen, ever will happen, is all happening right now. There's nothing but the moment. And you know, everything has to do with everything. It's like the butterfly effect. And I think everything is just one thing. It's just like God experiencing itself in this physical form. So like you said, like we're just hanging on by a thread.
And if you just hit your head the wrong way,
and
that thread is broken.
Yeah, dude. But what I was gonna say about you not blasting off, I wouldn't necessarily say you didn't blast off, because every time I've smoked DMT, I've smoked the full 3 hits, and there's definitely, if you open your eyes, like, yeah, it's still fucking like DMT land. You can't tell you're in a room, but like you're still breathing. You know, I always still felt like even like in my craziest like out of body, in body experiences, like breath had always still been involved. Like going through the most intense, scary parts is when you're not breathing. And like you just realize like you like start breathing again, and like even when like you're not even in a body, like there's no such thing as a body, but there's still the feeling no concept of a body, but this like I don't know. You're always you, no matter what. You're always you, no matter what form. So even though you didn't quote unquote blast off, I think you may have, but you just have a stronger connection to your body than
I
some
do,
other
yeah.
people do.
Yeah, like I love acid. That's my favorite. I like shrooms, but acid is the
That's
choice.
what I've done the most of.
Yeah, if I have a choice, if I have the three laying out there, mushrooms, acid, and DMT, I'll pick acid every time.
Yeah.
Because and now it's like the same thing too, right? Where like if I do acid with somebody, they'll be like, "Oh my god, I'm tripping balls, I'm tripping so hard," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm feeling good. This is cool. I'm having a good time." You know what I mean? Like,
Nah, dude, I'm really sensitive to the shit.
yeah, no, I'm not. I'm
That'd
not.
be me. I'd be like, I'm tripping so hard.
Yeah, no, I'm not sensitive at all.
Everything's
Like,
melting, dog.
I'm not sensitive to substances. I am not sensitive to people's feelings. I am not sensitive. Like, I'm not even sensitive to my own feelings. You know, that took years of honing just to get to like the lowest levels of empathy. Like what I was talking about with drinking before. Like, I can get shit-faced hammer drunk and I still kind of just look like this. Like I might be a little more boisterous. I might be slurring my words, and if you know me, you know that I'm drunk. Yeah. But like if I get pulled over by a cop, which has happened several times, and it's not something I advocate. It's not something that I am proud of or anything like that. But
I don't condone the use of anything besides food, water, and air.
Yeah, they just let me go. You
Fuck
know?
Yeah.
They don't think I'm drunk, but I'm like driving away like, oh my god. Oh, because it's like this is the time, this is the Dewey, this is it. Yeah. So like that's the way that I interface with reality. There's just something holding me here, and it's very strong. It's a very strong thing.
You got something to do, man.
Yeah, and I would say the craziest, trippiest shit like about anything is my dream state. My dreams and like the person I become.
This blows my mind.
So when I dream, which I do everything in my power to make sure that I don't dream. So usually the best I can do is smoke sometime before bed. I usually won't have dreams if I smoke, but like sometimes I'm trying to get off that and I'm trying to like just sleep. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to I can live for days, weeks, and months in a dream. It absolutely happens all the time. And it's so vivid. And the place that I go, it's either jarring or terrifying. Wow. You know, it's never like once every few years I have a sex dream. And it always is a wet dream because that's how vivid and real it is. I even have this recurring dream, like once every 3 or 4 years, I pee the bed because I have a dream where I get up from my bed and I walk to the toilet and I take my pants down and I piss in the toilet and then I go, something's not right.
Dude,
and then
I have
know
this dream all the time. But I somehow wake up and I'm not pissing my pants, and I wake up and then go piss.
I've done it like 3 or 4 times as an adult.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I can't believe I don't piss my pants because I'm pissing in the dream, dude.
Yeah, but like I like take for example, here's this one dream that I had. There's this one dream. So if I'm dreaming and I wake up and I go back to sleep, I go back into the dream.
Dude, I do that. Oh, yeah, same.
That's great. That's rare. That's rare. I don't really speak to very many people that also do that. Yeah,
I mean, my dreams don't last, years. Sometimes like a dream it'll be like fucking 5 seconds. It'll switch to a whole new setting and everything, And
no, there's
my dreams. But my dreams are always in like the same, I'd say 15 to 20 settings. But like something's different going on most of the time. I have a couple of reoccurring dreams that are the same exact dream. But I haven't had those since I was a little kid. But yeah, all my dreams are usually in the same 15, 20 same settings. So I don't know what's going on with that. But in some of them I'm doing something similar that I've done before, but I don't know, dude. My dreams are I don't know. I'm trying to figure them out. I'm like, is this just another life I'm living? The fuck's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. I actually think that I'm occupying a different dimension. I'm like pretty convinced of that. And there's this one dream that I had, and this is a good example of all the stuff that I'm talking about. Is so I was a part of a team of people that was trying to disarm a bomb in a hospital.
What the
And
fuck?
yeah. I was like, I had like an earpiece in my ear, and I was getting directed, and there was several times where I got to the bomb and I failed to disarm it, and it blew me up and it killed me, and it fucking hurt. Like I died. The dying hurts in my dream, and
Dude, I died and felt the pain before.
it felt the pain. Yeah,
I got shot in
and
a
so
dream and woke up and like felt it for like the whole day.
Yeah, it was fucking it was hard. So when I died, when I got killed, I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh my god, it was I'm breathing heavy and all that shit. So I like fucking go back to bed. I'm back in the dream, and I have to fucking go and disarm the bomb again. But this time, it's like,
dude, it's like some glitch in the Matrix shit I was talking about on my last episode.
But here's the thing: is that the dream. Everybody and everything in the dream was consistent. So I'm like, oh, well, I fucked up here last time. I'm going to like slip over here so this person doesn't see me. Okay, the coast is clear. I can go do it. And then I successfully disarmed the bomb, and I woke up and I was like, fucking thank God. And I went back to sleep. And then I was a different person on the team, and I had to help disarm the bomb from a different perspective.
Whoa.
It was so fucked up, and this lasted all fucking night. But I also have a lot of experience with astral projecting.
Okay.
Sometimes it happens by accident, and there was a time in my life where I was trying to make it happen.
This is what I am so confused about. I have no idea what astral projection is. It doesn't make any sense to me.
So I used to think that it's your soul leaving your body and inhabiting this realm. But I actually the last time it happened, it was a few months ago, and I tested something out, and it is not this reality. Whatever the fuck it is not this reality.
Dude, see, that's what I thought.
It's not.
Because all the stories you hear, you're like, oh yeah, I flew to my friend's house and I told him what shirt he was wearing when we woke up. Yeah.
No, so actually that's what I did. So I knew I was astral projecting. And so it's probably like this in between sleep state, but it feels the same every time. It's like floating, and you're trying to get to where you want to go, but you have to like use furniture. It's like you're in space. You have to like kind of. It's kind of like
I've
swimming.
Had dreams like that where I'm flying and I have to kind of propel myself off of stuff.
Mm-hmm. But like. I knew I was doing it. I heard my roommate shuffling around in the kitchen. He was like cooking and stuff. It was the middle of the day. I was like taking a nap, and I was like, I know what I'm gonna do. This is like I was cognizant of what was going on. I'm gonna test this out. I'm gonna go see what clothes he's wearing, and then I'm gonna wake myself up and then go see what clothes he's wearing. But here's the thing: is that any entities that I encounter in this realm, they are not friendly. They don't have faces. They're not people. Whoa. They're malevolent, and it's just like you get.
Sounds like the fucking witch that stole my face when I was 3 years old.
This might be. It fucking might be. Whatever. I don't suggest that people astral project. Some people can't help it. But like there was a time in my life when I was trying to astral project, and there is a method to do it, but it takes a lot out of you. It's very energy intensive, and
oh yeah, it's really scary. I did it one time, but as soon as I got out of my body, I freaked out and got right back in.
That happens.
It was just like you feel like the whole fucking room is just like fucking shaking, and like you start to float up. And when you start to float up, you're like, holy shit!
It is scary.
It's scary, and I was like, all right, fuck that.
Yeah, and I think it's scary because it's your soul telling you that you don't want this. This is not what you should not be doing this.
Yeah, you're in your body. Be in your body.
Yeah, you're in your body for a fucking reason. We have time for this later. Like, this is not the place for you right now. You can't you can't wrap your mind around it. So what I did was I got out of my body and I went into the kitchen, and my roommate was wearing a yellow flannel shirt, and I was like, "Yo, dude, what's going on?" And he turned around and he didn't have a face, and he tried to attack me, and it was just bad. So I fucking jumped back into my body, and I woke up, and then I walked into the kitchen, and he was wearing a red flannel. Now, that might be like part of
light distortion.
Well, no, here's the thing. No, the fact that he was wearing a flannel might have pointed to it being some in-between realm, but he wears a lot of flannels. So also, I could have could have been a good guess.
Like a mimic.
You know. Yeah, exactly. So that's when I determined, finally, like after, experiencing this for pretty much my whole life.
But like, was he where he was when you're astral projecting?
Yes, but I was in an in-between sleep state, so I heard him fucking around in the kitchen, and that's why I was astral projecting in my room. I heard him, like, he's very loud when he's cooking food. Like, it's I don't know why he's that loud, but he pays half the rent, so he can do whatever the fuck he wants. But so that's why I was like, I know, like I knew it. I was like, this is it. This is my moment that I actually get to test this, because you're not always that cognizant of what's going on. And so I wanted to test it out, but again, like every time I encounter an entity, sometimes you can astral project and not encounter another entity, and that's fine. That's cool. You're just flying around. It's kind of cool. It's fun. But whatever inhabits that realm is not friendly.
Yeah, I feel like that's the realm LSD brings me into.
Oh, that's not. I stay. Like I said, I'm firmly in my body with LSD. I'm firmly here. Like I don't trip balls. I love to have sex on acid. That's my absolute favorite. Absolute favorite.
That's insane,
dude. You
wild.
It's like the semen doesn't end. It's just like it's fucking porn star stuff. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, well, and you're just like, it's still going. You know what I mean? But it feels so fucking incredible. And the thing that I love about sex on acid is that you have control over everything.
Yeah, everything.
You get everything. You have control, and the sensations are incredible. And if you close your eyes while you're having sex, like you can end up in another place. It's really incredible shit. But I really love like watching movies. You know what I mean? Like I love like watch. There's nothing like watching The Wall.
Dude, I watched
Pink Floyd's The Wall.
2001: Space Odyssey the first time I did mushrooms, or second time.
Nice.
Dude, that we didn't make it through the whole movie, but that was one of my most intense trips, dude. That was insane. But like, it just blew my mind. I'd never seen the movie before either, but like the first scene with the monkeys, dude, it blew my mind. I was just like,
yeah. Yeah.
It all made sense.
And like when I'm on acid, especially, it's very much of a mind fuck. It's a mind thing. I don't have as many visuals. Like I do have visuals and stuff like that, and that's always fun. But it's just like I'm aware of my fingers perspiring. You know what I mean? Like it just if anything, it tethers me to my body.
That's my least favorite part about tripping is like any kind of sweat you feel. Like you just feel wet.
You feel every breath, and your lungs feel sticky. You know what I'm saying? But you're just so aware. You feel your heart beating. All these things that you take for granted, and that's why I love psychedelics. Is because anytime I come out the other side, I'm like, I take everything for granted. I shouldn't.
Yeah, dude.
You know, and as long as I can, like, and there are times where like, everybody goes through their phases. Everybody goes through their ups and downs, and everybody goes through these times where like they're cognizant for a considerable period of time of how grateful they are for everything. And if you can inhabit that space, a majority of the time, then you're in good shape. But psychedelics really do that. They really pull you into like, dude, like this is temporary. Everything is temporary. Your relationships are temporary. Your breath is temporary. Everything is temporary. Like enjoy it. Make sure that you're playing drums with your son.
Yeah, dude. Well, shit, man. That sounds like a good way to wrap this episode up.
For sure, man. Hey, dude, this is fucking. You're the man, Shane. I'm very glad
you're
that we met. Like fucking, and we're gonna do this conspiracy theory band, and we're gonna
dude.
we're gonna make some waves, bro. This is gonna
Rockin'
be this
round table.
is this is the beginning of something beautiful.
Absolutely, brother.
Horns up, bro.
Horns up. Boom.
Blow.
Blow.
Oh, before we go, can you just let all of my listeners know where they can find all your shit, and I'll do that too?
I mean, I just stopped recording for a second. I hit record again. I don't know. All right, let's do that.
Okay.
Boom.
Blood out. Where can everybody find your shit?
Okay, you can find me on Alt Media United. That's probably like the prettiest place to find me, but you can contact me or check out, you should check out the Instagram. It's at Newsome-Pod. You can contact me there if you want to come on the show, if you had any psychedelic experiences you want to talk about or anything, crazy or interesting. I'm down for pretty much anything on my show as long as it gets my spirits up and I'm interested in it. And you can contact me at I knew some, but I didn't know it all pod@gmail.com.
And I am Jay Hennihan, How to Kill a Sacred Cow. You can find me on anywhere podcasts are sold. HowToKillASacredCow.com is the place to check out. I've been making it more and more of a place to go for a one-stop shop for all my stuff, and it's a great place to land. I have a library in there where you can buy any of the books that any of the guests that I've had on. And you can find me on YouTube. The channel is Jay Hennihan, but I'm also on BitChute and Odyssey. And yeah, that's all the places you can find me. Georgia with musical. Listen to that shit.
Dude, listen to that shit. Wow. Thanks for listening to that Newsome, but I didn't know it all podcast. How to Kill a Sacred Cow.
How to Kill a Sacred Cow.
Wow.
I can feel the sorrow all the way in my ass. If I could have you back, you know I understand. I have found since I did before I grew. Trying to fall back